Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we're in Boston at the Sales 2.0 conference and we have the pleasure of meeting with Jose Palomino. He is the CEO of Spyglass Selling. Welcome, Jose. All right. Tell us a little bit about Spyglass Selling.
Sure. Well, Spyglass Selling came out of our work in messaging around value propositions that we've done for about a decade. And what we realized was that sales professionals needed a more effective way to communicate what they're doing. And we started looking at all the different ways that messaging, communication took place in the whole sales continuum, manager to rep, rep to customer, and so on. And we came up with a set of visual thinking tools for sales professionals. And these tools really captured a few very simple ideas, like how to plan for negotiation, how to access authority, how to bulletproof a deal. All of these, for the very most part, could be taught on the back of a diner placemat. So we rendered very simple visual tools on the 80-20 basis that if you could improve these various areas of performance across your entire team by some significant percentage, by a simple process, on an aggregate basis, you'd have a much better team, a much stronger team, because it's very hard to just change over your team. At some point, the people you got is the people you have, and you have to work with them. And so what Spyglass does, it focuses on simple, repeatable processes that can be illustrated literally on the back of a napkin. And additionally, what we do is we focus with the teams we work with on real-time or in-quarter results for the things they're working on. So we don't do theoretical, we don't do case studies, we work on their real deals. So if you give us 10 reps and they're each working on 4 deals for this quarter, we will bulletproof 40 deals. And that's the philosophy of Spyglass: easy, visual, and current quarter impact.
And I have looked at your placemat, if you will, and to me it's like almost a roadmap for a conversation where you hit all the right spots and examine all the critical elements of a deal so you have more certainty. Do I get this right?
Yeah, so that's one of our primary tools. We call it pivotal conversations, and we look at 5 basic categories of conversation: a business conversation, financial, technical, competitive, and risk. And these conversations, if it's a significant deal, if it's a complex deal, if multiple stakeholders are involved, you have to cover that ground. Sometimes a deal will close and you didn't cover that ground. You say, well, does that mean you don't have to do it? It just means that you were blessed, that you were actually on the 1-yard line, didn't know it. But the reality is, for larger deals, if you don't cross the T's and dot the I's on things that are really happening in the buyer's mind, not stuff you do. So if you look at sales process and say, well, did we prepare the quote sheet properly? Did we get our approval for the discount? Those are internal facing things. You should do that. What we focus on is, do you understand what the end game is in the mind of your buyer, for example? Or what is the personal risk that's at stake for them if they make a decision for your offering? So these are things that we want the seller to have crystal clarity, as much as humanly possible, as to what their buyer's actually thinking in these critical areas. So that's just one example. It's a great one to point to.
So how accurate is that map, that pivotal discussion roadmap?
Well, it's interesting because it's not something you can just ask your buyer in every case and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you score this attribute or that attribute? So you have to pick this up qualitatively in a couple of ways. One, you certainly ask the rep, what do you think about these dimensions? Score them. But then you do something else. You actually dig in and ask them some tough questions. Notably is, how do you know this is true? Who told you? And is it the person in authority? Or was it a project manager, but it's the VP that has to feel this way about it? We can often, as sellers, fall victim to what is often called to as happy ears. Right? So we run into a deal and we hear what we want to hear from a particular stakeholder, but it's not the right stakeholder. So we say things aren't validated until they're validated at the appropriate level. And that's something we drum into people again and again. The other thing is with, for example, pivotal conversations, and most of our tools, we never say you have to use this for everything you're working on, because that would feel onerous, burdensome, and frankly not that attractive.
Right.
We say if you're working on 2 or 3 deals that you're counting on closing this quarter, and your boss is counting, and her boss is counting on that closing this quarter, apply this model to those 3 deals. When you do that, you're going to internalize kind of the intellectual construct behind the model, and it just becomes second nature to you at that point because you did it on something that really mattered to you. If you do it to everything, you may end up applying it to deals that it's not that germane. So we rather instill the behavior by virtue of actually making it happen first in something that really matters and where the stakes are really high.
How can people learn more about Spyglass Selling?
Well, by going to spyglassselling.com. We describe a bit about our visual thinking tools for sales professionals, and of course they can contact us and we'd be happy to talk to them, to give them even a complimentary assessment of their team. We have a variety of tools that can help them really figure out whether getting this kind of fast traction makes sense for them.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much, Jose.
Thank you.